together. So I'm turning it over to Annie Fahey, who is going to be our guide through this final section.
Hello, what a wonderful thing to do at the end of a Sunday, at the end of a beautiful weekend together. So the first thing that we wanted to do is just share some images, slideshow of Pat. She was a founder of AWA. She was also a mother. She was a daughter. She was a wife. She was a friend. She was a lover. And she was mostly a writer and a poet who I just wonder, how did she get any writing done? She gave so much out. So we're gonna start with this slideshow of Pat, and then we will come together and write. So take it away, Katie. Wonderful. And I don't have a picture of me and Pat, and there's one in there, so I'm thrilled. I was like, ooh. Okay, so I wanted us to write together. Actually, when the planners asked me if I would be part of this, I was really honored because I loved Pat, and she made it clear that she loved me. But then after she died, man, she just loved everybody. She was amazing. And so I feel like I got a different Pat in that way that happens after the body is gone, right? And we're still figuring that out. So what I wanted to do, I want to give us a time to write together. And the way this is going to go is I'm going to show you a short video that I made. It's going to be a link in the chat box, and it will take you to a Vimeo page. It's about 3.5 minutes, and it has a poem of Pat's embedded in the video. So it's meant as a prompt, and I made it after Kate's talk yesterday. So I wanted to bring a little bit of that experience of writing with Pat and writing at 77 McClellan Alive. And I picked an earlier poem because I think a lot of attention to her later poems has already been tuned into. So the link is in the chat, so you can watch that link and make that your prompt. There will also be a copy of the poem in the prompt. So if you want to skip the link, you can just go right to the copy of the poem. Katie's going to put it in there. And I'm going to give you about 15 minutes to write to the prompt and then call you back. And then we won't share reading, but we will share lines in the chat and be together that way. So the poem is there, the link is there. So please And as usual with AWA, write whatever you want. If the prompt doesn't work for you, use something else. And Katie will probably mute everybody as well. This poem came from White River Junction. And what I'd like to do now is a way of remembering Pat. And something that Pat actually used to do was she would often give you a line for something you had written about during a workshop at the end of a workshop. It was quite wonderful. If it was a long workshop, sometimes it was a whole lot of things that she remembered you saying. So I'd like you to chat that into the chat box, and we'll just kind of call attention to lines. I'll be reading them. I'm going to read you mine. Your dove white hair cut in angles around your face, your hair framed by glasses the color of a frozen pond in winter and skatable, a silver circle of moon and an indigo stone near your heart. So who else has a line they'd like to put in? From Lane. And I am there again, there on the stairs, in the kitchen, in all the varieties of your embrace. I am there with your tears, your anger, your joy, in the place you made for me in your life, the place that has moved to me now into my own kitchen, my porch, my embrace, my heart. Thank you, Lane. From Patricia, Philip. People are watching. Never be bullied into silence. From Karen Gold. The sound of traffic is sweet here as the distant hum turns into a song and reminds me there is a river running beneath us all, silent and strong. Lisa Colburn. I wept to see her house like a broken vase from which her spirit has flown. Is there an ache? It keeps jumping. Is there an ache? Where are you? In its timbers, now that she has gone and taken the writers with her. Sue Reynolds. Love is in the details. The mossy stones leading to the front porch steps, the sturdy trunks of trees in the shade, the house in summer, and break the wind in winter, the bench in the front hall, the turn of the spindles on the stairs, those notes, reminders, remember this on the scratched metal filing cabinets. I too have slept in that room, read those intimate notes, put there for no one but herself. I too have washed up in that room like an almost drowned sailor on the shore's shingle, lain there on that futon under those handmade quilts, nibbled the almonds and broken squares of chocolate, put there for my sustenance so I wouldn't go hungry. From Julie Gardner, you changed my life, changed me. Shelley Wagner. The vice on the other end of the phone is a calm desert when the sand has settled after the storm. From Katie, Flattery. I am at Buckhorn on the retreat my hero gifted me, her hero at the helm of this ship of the gifted wordsmiths, retreat of my life. I'm bald from chemo, radiant with all that stays with me in this fireside circle. Kathleen Oleski. I remember driving to Amherst on a rainy, foggy Friday night in March. I pulled up to that yellow Victorian at 77 McClellan Street. The house looked so much like the house I grew up in. I felt reassured. When I rang the bell, this warm gray-haired woman with sensible shoes welcomed me. The house smelled of brownies. Nancy Smith. A child of so much that can be wrong in the world did not stay down, and in doing so saved so many. And Tarianne. Connected still with the woman who stood in the doorway, in that doorway. We are the ones now standing in the doorway and welcoming many unique voices. Joanne Brown, love is everywhere you were. Joe Thompson, and now his grandmother's quilts are gone, sitting in some stranger's home, disposed of by his family, much like they discarded his son. Steph Curry, I was called home today. I entered with my pen, notebook, and a hug for Pat. She has one for me. She gives me permission to write in my unique Caribbean voice. Carol Teal. She has left behind the seeds and the buttons, aprons and pens and words, so many precious words to carry us forward, to share her light, that we might have more light ourselves and spread it around the world and bask in her wake where beauty lives. Marianne Calabro. Ah, the pantry, how I envied it, coveted it. It seemed the perfect place with a window onto the neighbor's yard, admitting an even light, with old wood shelves. During long prompts, I would decamp there, sit on the floor with a notebook and pen, smile at writers who might step in to find a snack. I came home to the house, to the porch, to the living room, full of words and laughter and tears. Home to the pantry over and over again, as so many of us did. The crew of pantry writers, beautiful. Lori Barron. The afternoon I sat in the long shadow of the sycamore tree and wept where I had never been before, and I was home. Laurel Carey. Pat is our sycamore, our forever pillar of strength, fresh eyes, open hearts. She has protected the spoken word of those who have been frightened into silence. Like a sycamore, she is forever with us, keeping our connections rooted in earth and sky, love and eternity. Haiti Frank. The future is not so clearly better, but for her presence, those she loved are better off. Those she loved and the ones they loved, and so on, nested cups of nourishment. Lisa, God lives in the pantry. Deepam. When I stand there at the edge of the river that flows quietly past the grasses and the building where my body moves from room to room, I touch my wrist, drop my weight into my feet, and repeat to myself, this is where you live. This is your home. Lois Rosen, so much mulch to grow new stories and poems. Ruth, sweet in this old house, come. Here is the tarragon, here the turmeric, here are the beans, the roots and flour, hibiscus and honey, ground garlic, rice and simmering water, onion and mushroom sauteing on the stove. Come, remember all the ordinary things that scent and color a life. Irene Egan. So much more than writing, speaking out loud, even singing, even if off tune. It's midwifery. Can you breathe in air? Can you live? Doing it, all of a sudden, somehow you knew how. Lisa, God lives in the pantry. Otherwise, you might never know what kind of hunger lives inside of you. Susie Whelan, she said, come home. You belong here. You will recognize it by its open door. I am waiting. I have the paper you need, the pen, the time. Come. Carol Ann. Finally, I found the yellow house I painted in my youth, longed for my whole life, finding only echoes of your laughter, sensing your calm, loving, knowing invitation to sit and to write, to find my voice. Wow. Well, I got the good end of that deal. Beautiful. Getting to read everybody's writing. And here's Catherine Reese. The first time I met her at an October retreat at Buckhorn, the first time she spoke to me, tell me something about yourself, with a warm, inviting smile. I did. I don't remember what I told her, but I told her something. No one had ever asked me that question before. she really wanted to know. She changed my life. I would love to have that printed and sent to all the guests of this conference. And I would like you all to read it out loud because it's really heart expanding. Your writing is beautiful. It's strong. You know, Pat, a lot of us met her in her middle age. We got to see a couple of pictures of her young, that Patsy picture, and there's some pictures of her young at college and married. But for me, I met her, she was a little ahead of me, and I met her in middle age, and I couldn't think how to write. I couldn't think how to be a mom and write. I was a single mom, and she told me about writing with a baby on her hip and writing in little snippets in between raising babies. And she gave me a worldview of a woman as an artist and as somebody who couldn't renounce the world, who couldn't leave the world that needed her. And she did that over and over again until the last decade. She taught me how to let a body go, how to watch it fail, how to see it betray, how to keep moving and keep planning and keep maneuvering around technology changes and people in her house and trying to hold on and all of those things. I'm going to stop for a minute. Katie, it is a Sunday, and though I know you by bits and pieces, I will miss you in whole. The lack of you come Monday will make up for a good prompt that was guys. And for Maria, a gentle woman with white hair, radiating a bright light from her eyes, welcoming my soul to sit down and write for a while. Pacific Theologic Center, Berkeley, California. So I wanted to say that about Pat because her willingness to share every part of her writing life and every part of her woman's life as an artist, as a mother, as a sister, as a friend, as a person who was in a fight with somebody, as a person who was trying to figure out how to hold on and how to let go and how to do it all. I just found it massively amazing that she continued that till the end. I was lucky to talk to her a couple of weeks before she died, and she was her old sparky self for sure. She was really on target with how she was asking questions, and so I was really lucky to have one more space of that with Pat. But she was generous even when she couldn't remember if she had talked to me or not. She was just amazing. So I thought about the poem I want to end with, and when I end with this poem, I feel like the mics should be opened if people want to say anything else. I don't want to be the last voice unless you all are just ready to go. I was going to do a blessing for writers, and I really recommend that poem as a beautiful place to go and sit with Pat. But I'm choosing from the little Patience of Ordinary Things chapbook to think about the way that Pat, in her last months, showed me how to let go and showed me about giving up and moving into the mystery and lighting a candle for what we don't know. And so I decided to read this poem ending as our ending. But I have to read Betsy Abrams first. I am a writer, Pat said, her words igniting a fire in me. Now I write alone, but I love writing with others, acknowledging the mundane, the profane, life. Okay, so this is the end, and it's called Ending. The beginning of the end is a beginning. The end of anything can be an art. Giving up the greed, the lust for winning is the hardest part. To be an artist of the end requires praising, not just what went before, but what's to come. The fact of ending is itself amazing. The lines that will define it never plumb. Beginning is a gift that comes unbidden, but ending can be crafted like an art. What lies beyond is mystery and hidden. Ending can be wholeness of the heart. Summon heart and its companion breath to make an art of what we know as death. Pat Schneider, y'all. Open up your mics and let out some joy.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
That was so beautiful, Annie. Every bit of it from beginning to end. Thank you so, so, so much.
I mean, Pat made me this person in so many ways. And let me just say that she used that poem, the one that I used as a prompt, to show me about commas, because I was clueless about punctuation in poetry. So in case you need a little Pat lesson in commas. Yeah.
I want to say thank you, Annie, and I want to say thank you all. And please remember that you are AWA. Thank you.
If you haven't remembered it today or said it out loud, you might look in the mirror or look at yourself on the screen and remind yourself that you're a writer.
I just want to say how lucky are we to have had her in our lives and to be here to carry on for her. Such a gift.
She would love this too.
So true.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're at a good completion space. I hope we're going to get lots of the recorded messages from today and handouts, and that prompt is on my Vimeo page. So if you guys want to use that for a remembrance of Pat in a workshop, feel free. And I just love being with you guys, and I won't be the first to go. So I'm just going to sit with you until you guys go.
I guess I'd like to add, having all of us together, Pat's with us today, and how special that we could all gather in one spot for an entire weekend, with women being so busy with everything else, and being able to hold and share this space together has been wonderful. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Laura.
And I'd like to say, all the way from Scotland, that I feel that there isn't a millimeter between us, or an inch, or a mile, or a yard. I feel so connected, and I think in the way that I wrote a whole series of poems called Unlocking Lockdown, this one parallels with my last poem, in which I sought to find the gratitudes of lockdown. And I would say that if this is what we can be grateful for, then I'm grateful to be looking at all these awesome people on my screen and to feel so connected, because I wouldn't have had the money to come to America anyway. It's my first retreat since I trained in 2011.
Hey, Susie.
No. So, bless this stupid pandemic for whatever it means to be about. And bless us for finding the resilience to be who we are in this moment and keep on writing.
I don't know if we properly thanked Katie Frank and Ben Irwin and all the extras that Zoom requires. So graceful under Zoom pressure. Thank you, guys.
And Danielle and Kelsey, Kelsey's not here anymore, but yeah, thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually had like I mean, it's been so beautiful and organic, but I had a sort of a final kind of closing goodbye to say.
Oh, please
I wanted
do
to,
it. I didn't know you were doing that. I got confused.
Poor communication. Yeah. So I actually wrote it out because I didn't want to forget anybody. So I just wanted to say this has been an intense weekend of learning and sharing with a lot of screen time, but I wanted to ask for just 2 more minutes to acknowledge and thank everybody who worked so hard to make this such a rich event. First, Katie Frank, our phenomenal cruise director, who has sacrificed her own immediate learning opportunities to keep this event flowing seamlessly, who waited patiently and with great good nature in that echoing main room to gather in the stragglers and send them to the rooms where we actually belonged. This event could absolutely not have happened without her. In fact, much of what AWA accomplishes could not happen without her. We are so grateful every day for her creativity, her enthusiasm, and her dedication to this organization. I wanted to thank our essential tech team, Danielle, Kelsey, and Ben, who kept things moving smoothly once we did get to our breakout rooms. You were wonderful, and as one of the presenters who benefited by your steadying presence, I was so grateful for your quiet, competent support. I wanted to thank Tegan, JL, and Kate for your guidance in getting the synovial fluids moving again in our joints and for reminding us we have bodies in between those robust sessions where our heads were so engaged. I wanted to thank each and every presenter who gave so generously of your time, skills, and knowledge to broaden our skills base as AWA facilitators. These events have historically been a marvelously collegial sharing in the AWA non-hierarchical spirit, but this event was that on steroids. Over and over, I've been so impressed with the breadth of the experience and the depth of your kindness and generosity in sharing what you know and what you've learned with your colleagues so they can take what you've shared forth into their own work. I wanted to acknowledge and thank Kate Himes again for taking us once more into the hallway of that yellow house, the warmth of Pat Schneider's presence, and for reminding us of what our legacy as AWA facilitators is. I wanted to thank Carla Hansen, Andrea Vasallo, Kate Marshall-Flaherty, Vicki Pinkerton, and Katie Frank, the conference committee who worked 4 months to make this happen. And if early morning emails are evidence of anything, even dreamed about it in their sleep. And I want to thank, as always, from the bottom of my heart, Lane Goddard for her gracious, visionary, steadying hand on AWA's tiller. She keeps us on course. Yeah, and I put it in the chat, but I want to thank each and every one of you for your presence and your contributions this weekend. It's no small thing to spend this number of hours of screen time on Zoom. I'm so inspired by everything you shared this weekend, everything I've learned, and so proud to be part of this incredible group of individuals. Thank you all for joining the 2020 Professional Development and Writing Retreat. I'm so glad we could all be together during this time, and I cannot wait to see you again at the next one.
Thank you, Sue.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Anne and Sue, that was just such a great way to end the weekend. Just beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
I'm going to sign off and go blow my nose.
Yeah. Well, everybody, thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bless you.
See you all.
Love you all.
Love you guys.